another video. Today's video I'll show you my stats, which haven't changed at all, and then I'll explain why joules are important and what to search for in joules, and then I'll do a map and talk about where the damage of discharge comes from. So /played 6 days 5 hours and 67 deaths. I've got the same exact stats as other videos, so yep, 209 attack speed on whirling blades and 5.1 whatever it was, 5.13. When I come out of invincibility, it goes up a little higher because of the regen. Yeah, 42k discharge still. So it's the same exact stats. Okay, so when I check other people's gears and I see their character page, oftentimes I see they don't take the joule slot over here, for example, or they don't take the joule slot over here, or they don't take the joule slot 2 point over here. And the thing is, these joule slots are a lot of damage. If you look at this, this is a 4 module. This is pretty hard to get, but something like this, a 3 module, which is just an attack speed and 2 damage mod, actually applies a lot of damage to your discharge. And if you can get like a 3 mod with additional 6 attack speed, 6 attack speed is worth like 1.5 points. And then you get another, 5 attack speed, which is worth like 1.25, 16 multi, which is worth like at least 1 point, 15 is here, and 11 area, which is like worth a 10 spell damage node. So, you're getting your point value given to you. And especially if you start getting 2 modules, you can get 3 damage nodes just for 2 points. And that's a lot of damage. So in a joule, you should really just be looking for spell damage or multi. They're both equally important. You just want to stack both. One is not particularly better than the other. They're pretty close actually in terms of how much they increase your damage by. If I had to say, I think multi is still better for increasing your damage. Your tooltip might look exactly the same, but you got to keep in mind with Diamond Flask, your critting will actually be much higher, and therefore the multi is much, the power of the multi is less shown in the tooltip when you have a lower crit. So I think multi is still more damage than like a spell damage, but you can get decent spell damage on like shield, 16%. But yeah, so it just comes down to getting like good mods. Like you kind of want to avoid the increased damage because it's low. You shoot for like a 16 or like 18 crit multi, stuff like that. I probably should like divine this kind of stuff, but it's not really a big deal. So yeah, so that's what you want to shoot for in a joule. Just a 3 mod, 1 attack speed, 2 damage mod is totally okay. I guess I'll mention where the discharge damage comes from right now, and then I'll do a map. And let me roll the map first, I guess. I've been running like 77, 78s all day today. I couldn't shoot up to the red maps at all. I've been just running typical maps like this, like 120, 100 quantity pack size, and with Onslaught they come out to be like 120 or 100 pack size, like 100 quantity and pack size, and I couldn't sustain reds, so I don't know. Mapping's pretty difficult to get to reds right now for me. So where does the damage of discharge come from? Basically, what's happening is you're cycloning and it's critting, and you're getting a chance to cast a spell. So when you crit, it generates the power charges from Vol's Protector. So basically, your damage is how fast you can generate charges and dispel them with discharge. So what's important is your crit chance and your attack speed. So that's why I show my attack speed every time. It's 5 attack speed. So I'm doing 5 attacks per second on my Cyclone. And that's a big part of your damage, because if you have like 42k whatever discharge, and you're hitting 5 times a second, and 70% of the time you're actually discharging, you're basically having like 3.5 discharges per second. And that's whatever 3.5 times 42k is. So that's quite a bit of damage. That's assuming if you're always max charges, which with Blade Vortex you should be, or for AoE, you should always be max charges. So the damage of your discharge comes from the damage of discharge and the cyclone attack speed and your crit chance. And the crit chance should usually be capped with the diamond, so you don't really have to worry about that with diamond. Now, where do you get the 42k tooltip for discharge? Well, what's happening is basically all the base damage of the discharge gem. So, the discharge level matters. A 21 is about 10% better than a 20. And, a 19 is about 10% better than an 18, so on and so forth. And, 10% each time multiplies by itself quite a bit. So discharge gem matters, base damage increase with the discharge level, and then you also get quite a bit of spell damage on a tree. For me in particular, you can see I get 16 here, 14 here, area node 20, area node 20, and another 10. So that's like 80. And then another 18 here, that's like 98. And then here is 56 plus 20, that's 76. So that with like 98 is 174. And then 186, and then I think that's all the spell on the tree, if I didn't miss any. Oh yeah, all the power charges 24. That would push it to 210. And I think that's all the spell I get from the tree. So you're shooting in the 210 realm. So once you start getting jewels, you see I start getting like 11 here, 22, and then another 25, so 47. And 59, and then 69. So I get like 69 increased damage from jewels, whereas I have a 210. So 69 of your 3.1 base, I'm getting like 22% more from the increase of the jewels. So that's just from the increase of the jewels, and the jewels also provide multi, so that's the other way you get damage on discharge, spell damage and multi. You see I have 332 multi. If you only have like a 232 multi and you get like a 100 more multi, you're increasing your damage by like 43%, because the way crit multi works is whatever your multi is, when you crit, that's your damage multiplier. So 332 will be multiplying your damage when you crit by 332. If you have no crit multi, it will be 1.5, so it will be multiplying your damage by 50%. So getting like crit multi on the jewel is a lot of multi. For example, my multi is, I have 26 here, so I might have like miscounted like 16, but my multi is 18 plus 16, that's 34, plus another 28. That's 62. Man, I can't math. Let me just add it up for you guys in a calculator. So, 18 multi plus 16, okay, plus 28 plus 18, and then I have no multi on this one. So I'm getting 80 multi from a jewel, and 80 out of what is my multi? 332. If I didn't have that 80 multi, I would have 252. So my jewels are giving me 31% more crit damage, and somewhere around like 40 whatever spell I showed. So you can get quite a bit of damage from jewels. So basically the damage from your discharge is the base damage of discharge, the spell damage you get, and the multi from all your sources. So if you get, for example, something like Facebreaker, when you're critting, you're going to be doing like additional 90 multi. So that's like 1/4 more damage when you're critting. which is like all the time. So damage comes from, a lot of it is from jewels, in fact. So if you have really bad jewels, you can increase the damage of your discharge by a lot. And in the same way, if you have like no spell damage on jewels, you can get spell damage and it's gonna increase it by a lot. Or if you have no attack speed, you get attack speed on your jewels, it's gonna increase it by a lot. Jewels are pretty important for the damage on this build. On the tree, you know, you don't get that much spell damage, like 210 when I showed you, somewhere around there. So getting jewels actually helps quite a bit. So that's why jewels are important. And the discharge damage basically comes from those sources. Uh, spell damage, multi, and attack speed on Cyclone. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention while I'm mapping. Getting attack speed on Cyclone is does a couple things for you. Of course, it increases your damage, but more importantly, I think if you get attack speed in general, it will increase your whirling blade speed, which makes your game feel like a lot smoother when you're whirling around. As you see, I have 209 increased attack speed modifier on my whirling blades. It feels really smooth compared to like say 100. And that's like really nice. That's like the nicest part about attack speed. Even though like say 6 attack speed is gonna make your discharge do not as much damage as like 18 multi at the higher tiers of your stats, then the only thing that is advantageous is the whirling blade speed, and the other thing is the potting. If you have stuff like Surgeon's Flask, which refill on critical, if you have faster attack speed, you refill them quicker. So that's like a big advantage as well, especially on single target. So getting attack speed is actually pretty critical for this kind of build, for enjoyment purposes and for flash refill, and it does a little bit of damage as well. So attack speed is not actually useless. Like people ask me, oh, what's better in a jewel? Attack speed or multi, what should you prioritize if you could choose? And I just tell them, get whatever you can. You don't want like some garbage 3 attack speed jewel mod. You want something like attack speed with daggers that rolls up to 8% or at least a 6% attack speed. You see mine have like 5 and I have like one with 3. It's totally okay. But you just want to get like 3 modules that aren't like really weak mods. You want to get like strong mods. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to tell people that jewels are a big part of the damage for a lot of builds, especially if you can roll like good 3 modules. 4 modules seem to be like really impossible to find for some reason. I've had like to search up for like so many days, but could only find like 2 or something. 3, it's like once every like 20 hours it comes up. I don't know why it's so uncommon now. In the past it used to be way more common. But nowadays it's super uncommon, so you should not bank on getting a 4 module ever in your build. You should really just rely on getting 3 modules, and don't expect to get the extreme 4 modules. I think if you really wanted one, what you should do is you should buy 3 modules that are like really well rolled, really well statted, and exalt your own. But of course that's really expensive and probably cost inefficient. So I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you're really rich. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all I'll mention for the video today. The character is just, going through mapping, proceeding, just grinding endlessly in 77, 78. So I'll see you guys next time.